The first thing you need to understand is that the Royal Air Force has quietly become one of the most capable air powers in Europe, and most people outside the defense world have not grasped how big that shift actually is. While other nations debate procurement or argue over budgets, the United Kingdom has been building an air fleet designed for something very specific: high-end offense, global reach, full-spectrum air dominance, and the ability to open the skies for NATO if a conflict ever erupts on the European continent. This is not just hype. It reflects what appears in UK defense documents, NATO's publicly available planning statements, and the work of multiple European defense analysts. The RAF is not just another air force in Europe. It is one of the few that brings together stealth strike, air superiority, carrier aviation, a role in the wider nuclear deterrent framework, and leadership in next-generation fighter development. That combination is rare. And if you want to understand why the RAF has become such a central pillar in NATO's long-term planning, you need to see how all these elements fit together. The story starts with what the RAF flies today. At the center of the force is the Eurofighter Typhoon. Developed with Germany, Italy, and Spain, but upgraded in ways tailored to British needs, the Typhoon fills the air superiority role that keeps the UK's skies safe every single day. Many analysts describe the Typhoon as one of the most capable air-to-air fighters in Europe, thanks to its powerful engines, advanced radar, and the Meteor missile system. Meteor matters a lot. European defense reports often describe it as one of the best beyond visual range missiles in service because of its ramjet propulsion and its ability to keep energy at long distance. That combination makes the Typhoon the aircraft NATO regularly leans on for quick reaction alert, Baltic air policing, and patrol missions over Iraq and Syria. Air superiority alone does not make the RAF stand out. The next piece is the F-35 Lightning, specifically the F-35B. This is the UK's fifth-generation stealth jet, and it brings a different set of skills. It can operate from short runways, it can land vertically, and crucially for the UK, it can fly from both land bases and from the two Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carriers. This gives Britain something that almost no other European country has right now: a fully operational, carrier-capable stealth strike force. NATO documents that discuss carrier strike operations highlight the importance of nations that can deliver stealth aircraft from the sea. This gives the alliance the ability to launch deep, penetrating strikes without relying entirely on air bases close to contested borders. At the moment, the United States and the United Kingdom are the main countries that can field this type of capability at meaningful scale. Italy also operates F-35Bs and is building up its own carrier aviation, but the UK's carrier infrastructure and deployment model is larger and more flexible. That difference matters because it means the RAF and the Royal Navy together can project air power well beyond the European theater when required. The F-35 brings something else with it: electronic warfare and sensor fusion capabilities that allow it to detect and classify threats other jets may struggle to see. This view does not just come from manufacturer brochures, it is a recurring theme in NATO exercise reporting and in commentary from defense analysts. When the UK deploys its F-35s on multinational exercises, the aircraft often ends up serving as one of the main information hubs for the wider coalition. Commentators describe this as the ability to see first, decide first, and strike first. In modern air warfare, those advantages often decide who survives the opening minutes of a fight, which is exactly the phase any serious air force wants to control. With Typhoons maintaining air superiority and F-35Bs providing stealth strikes and wider battlefield awareness, the RAF already has one of the most balanced fighter fleets in Europe. But the UK is taking this further. At the 2025 NATO summit, British officials announced plans to procure the F-35A variant as well. This version carries more fuel, can fly longer distances, and has a larger payload capacity than the F-35B. It is also the variant commonly used in NATO's dual-capable aircraft mission that is being adapted for the B-6112 nuclear gravity bomb. NATO's public statements make it clear that this bomb is part of the alliance's nuclear sharing arrangements, which are designed as a collective deterrent, not as a plan for active use. While the UK already has an independent strategic nuclear deterrent at sea through its Trident submarines, re-entering the dual-capable aircraft mission with F-35A would restore a tactical air-delivered nuclear role for the RAF once the capability is fully implemented and certified. That would be the first time since the retirement of earlier nuclear bombs in the 1990s that RAF fast jets hold such a mission. It would place the RAF in a very small group of European air forces that contribute to both strategic and tactical nuclear deterrence as part of the NATO framework. At this point, the question naturally comes up. Why does any of this make the RAF appear close to untouchable in a European context? The answer lies in NATO's defense planning guidance and in threat assessments that look at Russia's integrated air defense network. Most defense analysts agree that any potential NATO air campaign in Eastern Europe would require the suppression or destruction of advanced air defense systems. This is often referred to as seed and dead. Historically, the United States has carried most of this burden because breaking through layered systems such as the S-300 and S-400 families requires stealth aircraft, standoff weapons, and sophisticated electronic warfare. European nations have individual pieces of this puzzle. The UK is one of the countries that combines several of them in a single force. One example is the MBDA Spear 3 missile. British defense papers describe Spear 3 as a long-range, network-enabled miniature cruise missile designed to operate from aircraft like the F-35. It has a seeker that can track and attack air defense systems and other high-value targets, including when they try to reduce their emissions and move. It can maneuver around terrain, hit moving targets, and operate in large numbers because an F-35 can carry several internally. This kind of weapon is intended for use in dense integrated air defense environments, the kind of heavily protected areas that concern NATO planners. When you combine Spear 3 with the F-35 sensors and networking, the RAF becomes one of the most important potential contributors to NATO's ability to break open contested airspace if deterrence were ever to fail and a conflict actually occurred. Many defense analysts in Europe argue that without the UK, NATO's high-end strike plans would be much harder to execute. The UK's ability to perform these missions does not just come from fighters and missiles. It comes from an entire ecosystem of support aircraft that many casual observers overlook. The RAF is introducing the E-7 Wedgetail as its new airborne early warning and control platform. This aircraft gives commanders real-time visibility across a wide area. NATO and UK defense sources often describe airborne early warning as the nervous system of any modern air operation. Without it, fighters operate with limited awareness. With it, a coalition can track enemy aircraft, manage airspace safely, and coordinate complex missions. Only a few European countries operate aircraft at this level, and the UK's decision to invest in the E-7 keeps the RAF among the leading air forces for command and control. The RAF's fleet of Voyager tankers plays a critical role as well. These aircraft refuel Typhoons and F-35s in the air, greatly extending their range and time on station. NATO publications repeatedly describe air refueling as one of the biggest force multipliers in modern warfare. Having a robust tanker fleet lets the RAF patrol longer, reach further, and sustain operations without depending entirely on American refueling support. This gives the UK a degree of operational independence and resilience that many other European forces do not yet have. While the current fleet is strong, the UK's 2025 Defence Review shows clearly that London is planning well beyond today's configuration. The review outlines intentions to expand the F-35 fleet, integrate more drones into combat operations, and push toward a future force built around manned and unmanned teaming. Terms such as autonomous collaborative platforms and loyal wingmen appear throughout the material. These describe armed or sensor-carrying drones that can fly alongside crewed fighters, perform reconnaissance, jam enemy radars, or carry additional weapons. This model is similar in concept to the path the United States is taking with its collaborative combat aircraft projects. European defense analysts note that the UK is positioning itself as one of the leaders in this shift inside Europe. The Royal Navy's carrier air wings are being redesigned to operate in this hybrid environment as well. Instead of relying only on F-35Bs, future deployments are expected to include autonomous aircraft, longer-range precision missiles, and expanded electronic warfare capabilities. This makes British carriers much more flexible. They could launch stealth jets, send out unmanned decoys, or conduct standoff strikes without exposing as many crewed aircraft to risk. At the moment, no other European navy is developing a carrier air group with this kind of planned mix of crewed and uncrewed air power. All of this sets the stage for one of the most important aspects of Britain's future air power, the Global Combat Air Program, often called GCAP, which includes the UK, Italy, and Japan. This is the development program behind a future sixth-generation fighter that is expected to enter service around the mid-2030s if current timelines hold. Public information and official concept releases describe this aircraft, often referred to under the Tempest name, as a system designed for multi-domain operations. It is expected to have greater range than current fighters, a larger weapons payload, and advanced low observable shaping. But the real center of gravity is in its planned integration with autonomous drones and advanced networking. The aircraft is being designed to command a formation of unmanned platforms that might carry sensors, electronic warfare payloads, or weapons, and to share data seamlessly with other air, land, sea, and space assets. UK defense officials have used phrases like combat cloud node to describe this idea. That essentially means the aircraft will act as part of a wider web of sensors and shooters, rather than as a standalone platform. It is important to remember that GCAP is still in development and details can change, but the vision gives a clear picture of where the RAF intends to go. This direction is crucial because it helps ensure the RAF stays technologically relevant for decades. While other European countries focus on building up their F-35 fleets and upgrading existing aircraft, the UK is heavily involved in designing what could come after. Defense experts often point out that the UK's experience with advanced radar, electronic warfare, engines, and previous fighter programs gives it a strong industrial base to contribute to GCAP. Tempest, in that sense, is more than just a planned replacement for the Typhoon. It is intended to be a central pillar of a future force built for high-intensity conflict in contested airspace. The RAF's edge does not stop at fighters, drones, and carriers. The service also operates one of the more capable intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance fleets in Europe. Aircraft such as the RC-135 Rivet Joint provide electronic intelligence that maps enemy radar networks and communication patterns. These platforms feed data directly into NATO command structures and national decision-making. Public comments from British officials have often highlighted how the Rivet Joint Fleet has been important in monitoring Russian military activity along NATO's eastern flank and in other regions. The RAF's role in space and cyber-related operations is also growing. The UK has established a national space command that works closely with the RAF to monitor objects in orbit, track satellites, and help ensure communications and navigation resilience. In an era where satellites guide missiles, provide navigation for troops, and support communication networks, protecting those assets is essential. NATO reports consistently underline how important space resilience is to modern warfare, and the UK is among the countries investing to make sure those links remain secure. The RAF's global reach further strengthens its position. Most of its aircraft and personnel are based in the UK, but the service maintains a strategic network of overseas facilities. RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus, Gibraltar, Ascension Island, and the Falklands all give the UK the ability to operate far from home. The RAF's air mobility and tanker fleet, managed by No. 2 Group, supports long-distance deployments across the Middle East, Africa, and beyond. NATO documents often highlight the value of countries that can deploy and sustain forces globally without relying completely on allies for lift and logistics. In that regard, the UK performs very strongly compared to most European air forces. This global posture means the RAF is not just a European air arm. It is a force with worldwide responsibilities and the infrastructure to support them. During operations against ISIS, the RAF deployed Typhoons, tankers, drones, and intelligence aircraft for sustained periods, which only a small number of nations were able to match. When British carriers deployed to the Indo-Pacific, they carried jets that can operate alongside United States Marine Corps aircraft, showing a high level of interoperability that strengthens the wider alliance system. Now, the claim that the RAF is untouchable needs context. It is a provocative title for a video and a way of framing a debate, not a mathematical ranking. The United States remains the strongest air force in the world by a very large margin. France maintains its own independent nuclear strike capabilities and fields the Rafale, which many observers regard as one of the most capable multi-role fighters in Europe. Italy, Norway, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Finland all operate or are acquiring F-35s. Poland is building a large modern air force and plans to operate both F-35s and F-15EXs. Europe is not static. Many countries are expanding and modernizing their fleets quickly in response to a harsher security environment. The difference is in the combination of capabilities, rather than any single aircraft. The UK has stealth aircraft, high-end air superiority fighters, carrier-based strike aviation, a returning role in NATO's shared nuclear deterrent architecture, global basing, seed-oriented standoff weapons, and leadership in a sixth-generation fighter program. Taken together, this package places the RAF in a unique position inside Europe. When NATO planners think about potential air campaigns or high-intensity operations, the UK tends to feature in the most demanding roles that require advanced technology, long-range power projection, and the ability to help dismantle integrated air defenses if deterrence breaks down. That said, the UK is not without challenges. Analysts have raised concerns about aircraft availability rates, the number of trained pilots, and maintenance capacity. The 2025 Defense Review openly acknowledges the need to modernize infrastructure, expand training pipelines, and increase stocks of precision munitions after years of relatively low-intensity operations. In that sense, the UK faces the same reality as almost every other European country. High-intensity warfare is no longer just a theory studied in staff colleges. It is a real possibility that governments have to plan for while still hoping never to see it. So is the RAF untouchable in Europe? If untouchable means absolutely unmatched in every single metric, then the honest answer is no. Several European nations rival or surpass the UK in particular areas. But if untouchable refers to holding a uniquely powerful combination of offensive capability, advanced technology, nuclear responsibility within NATO, carrier aviation, and future leadership in air combat systems, then the argument that the RAF is in a category of its own becomes much stronger. NATO's planning documents and many defense expert assessments consistently point to the UK as one of the most important air power contributors in any serious future European conflict scenario. In the end, the RAF's strength is not tied to any single aircraft or any single weapon. It is the entire ecosystem, a network of carriers, bases, stealth jets, air superiority fighters, drones, early warning systems, tankers, intelligence assets, and next-generation development programs that fit together in a way that few countries can reproduce. This is why the RAF remains central to NATO's strategy. It is why defense analysts frequently place the UK at or near the top of Europe's air power rankings. And it is why, at a time when security is becoming more uncertain, the RAF is working to maintain an edge well into the 2030s and beyond.